I think that's pretty much the tour. I'm sure there's probably some questions.
How'd you get started?
How did I get started? I figured that was going to be one of the questions. So I had a good job. I was working at a big fab shop, probably half an hour down the road. I was there for 5 years, and my buddies and I would get together and cut and split wood. We all had wood boilers, and so we'd all get together and split wood. While my buddy had a Spico 35 ton, you know the kind you see at Farm and Fleet. The single knife about 6 inches tall, and no log lift, of course, no 4-way wedge, and it had about a 20-second cycle time. And it would take us all day to fill up a pickup load, you know. So I was like, we need to do something better here. So I started looking at building something. So basically what I came up with was a machine like the high output over there. Not nearly as fancy as that one is, but built it with a lot of scrap metal and whatnot. And I had the highway axle so I could tow it down the highway. My buddy lived in Menominee, so like pulling it down the freeway was a must for me. Had a log lift. I built an 8-way wedge. Broke about everything on the first one, rebuilt it again. And then work kind of slowed down, so they had to let some people go. And I was one of the guys on the weekend shift that had the nice premium for working weekends. And they were like, see you later. So I had to make something happen. I had a mortgage and wife and kid at home. And so I sold my splitter, and well, I had probably 30-40 cord of wood already cut and split, so at that point, so it didn't really pay to have the splitter sitting around. So I sold the splitter, and I had so many people call about it that I was like, well, I guess I could build another one, you know. And guy goes by the name of Jack. He's like, yeah, build me a red one, and yeah, put a Honda on that bleep, and bring it over here. I'll pay you cash. And I was like, well, okay, well, you know, I'll get to work on it. It took me a couple weeks, and I go over and meet him at his place, and I go pull up to this house, and it's probably a 6,000, 7,000 square foot house, and you don't know which door is the front door, because there's doors here, and there's, add-on buildings over there, and I was like, my truck's probably leaking oil in this guy's freaking driveway, and like looking at this big place, and all of a sudden I see out of the corner of my eye, here's a guy walking up with a classic Paul Bunyan look. He's got a red and black flannel shirt on, duck jeans, big beard. Tall guy comes walking over, and he's like, hey Chris, I'm Jack. And he's super excited about this splitter. I'm so nervous. Like looking at the house, and like, are we gonna go in that place? Like, he's like, oh yeah, don't worry about the house. That's the wife's house, he says. He says, I'm usually out here in the wood shop. And he starts looking at his splitter, and he's like, man, you really did a good job of this. And he's like crawling on the ground, looking underneath it and looking at all the welds. And he's like, you should build another one. You should keep doing this. I'm like, I don't know. My wife's going to kill me. I need to get a job. And he's like, no, seriously, here's the money I owe you for the splitter. Here's a couple $100. You go get some more parts. Build another one. Geez, I don't know. Well, I got thinking about it on the way home from Afton, Minnesota. Why not? Give it a try. Job search wasn't going very well, and it just seemed to be kind of a slow time where, a lot of the fab shops weren't hiring. And What the heck? So I stopped at Northern Tool on the way home, and I grabbed a Honda engine, and I grabbed a few piece parts I couldn't find elsewhere. And, you know, sure enough, started building another one, and I kept my ads going on Craigslist. And sure enough, a couple days later, somebody else called. Yeah, I want one. Yeah, I want, you know, I'll paint it. He said, oh, I'll paint it myself and this and that. And, but I want a 35 ton and a 4-way wedge and a log lift, and let's put fenders on it, and, you know, maybe a spare tire or something like that. And okay, you know, so start building that, and a week and a half, 2 weeks later, he come pick it up, and wow, this is, you know, working out pretty good. So I kind of, every time I'd build a new one, I'd take more pictures and I'd update the Craigslist ad, and pretty soon, like 7 machines later, I'm like, okay, I can't weld and talk on the phone anymore. Like, you know, it ain't working. So I ended up hiring a guy that was also laid off from the same place I worked at. He was also a welder. And so we would, he would do the welding on the one side of the garage, and I would do the assembly on the other side. And if we needed to fill up the air compressor, we'd plug the air compressor in, and if he needed to weld something, then he'd plug the welder in. And you're always constantly doing that. Oh, you got to stop welding for a little bit so we can let the air compressor fire up. And then, you know, if we were using a plasma cutter, it would be, you know, musical chairs with electrical power. So we only had enough power to run one of those pieces of equipment at a time. We couldn't run all 3, so, or 2 of them at a time. So, but it wasn't very long. We found that it wasn't going to work in a 26 by 32 garage anymore. Especially with all my home stuff is up on shelves, getting dusty, dirty. And then, of course, hauling the machines back and forth to powder coat and whatnot just wasn't feasible. Well, the powder coat shop that we still use to this day, they had about 1,200 square feet of space that I could lease from them for $400 a month. And I talked to my wife about it, and she's like, oh, $400 a month? I don't know if we're going to go broke. You need to find a job. Stop fucking around with these wood splitters. Like, well, you know, I mean, we sold 20 of them now. Like, oh, we're going to go broke and this and that. And I don't know. I think we should do it. You know, and they had, you know, it's an industrial building. So they had 3-phase power. They had a loading dock. They had a forklift. They had, you know, they had pallet racking we could use. So it worked out perfect. We moved all of our welding equipment, air compressor, all that stuff, plasma cutter, and it was pretty tight space. Like, we had an area for assembly and we had an area for 1 or 2 guys to weld. And if you got like a pallet of parts, and you had to put that pallet of parts away because you didn't have a place to work otherwise. But we would weld the machines up, roll them over to the powder coat shop. They would blast it, powder coat it, and then basically assemble it all in one space. So it worked out great. And of course, then having the loading dock to be able to start shipping the machines out. We actually shipped our first overseas shipment. One of those high output SHO machines went to New Zealand out of that shop. So I think it was number like 62 or something like that. Went to New Zealand. So from there, as we grew, and of course the powder coat shop had to grow at the same time, it got pretty tight. So we running out of space there. We ended up getting into a building down the road here, maybe 3/4 of a mile. It was the incubation center. It was a place where they bring in manufacturing companies to help them grow. They have a reduced rate on rent, and basically they want companies like mine to start hiring people from the community and helping them grow that way. So that place also had a forklift and a loading dock and 3-phase power, so we were able to really grow there. And I think we were there for about 3 years, and same story, we ran out of room, and that's when we started building this shop here, and later on added that second addition 2 years later. So right now, as you can see, it's pretty full already. Yeah, it's what they always say, double it and then double it again. Yeah, we doubled it, and we got to do the second double now. So whenever you build a shop or a garage, you always want to do way bigger than you thought you're going to need. And so far so good, it's been working, but yeah, we're probably ready to add some more space. But any other questions? Yeah.
So approximately how many units are you shipping out of here a year?
I think we do, they say we're doing about 100 a month. I think that's pretty conservative.
Okay.
Especially if you add in, normally that's like splitters. If you figure in like the IC16s and the, even the skid steer splitters, the conveyors, I think that number's, a little bit higher. So, but yeah, like there's weeks where we'll have 5 53-foot Conestogas in and out of here, loaded out. So, yeah.
What year was it you built the first one?
The first one I built for myself, I built in March of 2015, and then I lost my job in August 2015, built and sold that like shortly thereafter. So, but basically by December, by the end of the year, I was on number 10, I believe, before the end of 2015. Yeah, yep. And then I built the next 10 out of my garage, and I think we moved into the powder coat shop, I want to say March or April of 2016. So, yep.
How long have you been here?
In this building, we built this in 2020. So, yep. And at the time, I think we had 7 employees at the incubation center. Moved in here and we doubled to 13 or 14 employees, and all working in this shop before we started adding extra shifts and whatnot.
How many employees now?
I think we have 40 employees. What's that?
How many hours do you run?
The first shift will run 4 10s or 4 12s, and then weekend shift will run 3 12s. So.
You've stuck to building a quality product in this world of junk.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
To build not as good of stuff.
Right.
So, it's good to see that quality product sells.
Yeah. Yep.
There's a little bit of olive oil clear in every one of your machines. We're kind of proud of you.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, that's one thing that's always, been something that I always held kind of close was making sure that people are happy. Like my name's on the side of that. There's growing pains, and there's things that we wish were better. A lot of the piece parts that we order, the pumps, if we've got a problem with pumps, like I'm pretty adamant that we either find a new pump or we choose somebody's butt upstream, so we get a good quality product coming in too. So but yeah, there's as you grow, like you never thought that, hey, we'd have to talk to this guy about, hey, don't put the hose on that way, or do this or that, so. But yeah, all those growing pains and challenges you go, come along with it. Yeah.
Where are the Honda engines made?
Where are the Honda engines made? I think the V-twins are made in China, and the singles are made in Japan. The only engines that Honda has assembled in the US are the GC series, the ones that they're phasing out of now. I'm surprised they haven't like started bringing some of the GXs in to those plants where the GCs were made with the tariffs. I'm surprised that hasn't happened yet, but it hasn't. So, but yeah, those are, you know, fully imported. Any other questions? No? No? All right. Well, that's kind of the tour, and you know, if you guys want to walk around, we have all kinds of parts underneath the awning on that side of the building, all kinds of frames outside the front and along the side here. So, you know, feel free to walk around, take a look at stuff. So, but thanks you guys all for coming.
Thank you, Chris.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hey, congrats.